This is from Shane Beamer on the or one of many things he said after releasing Mike Shula of his duties as the OC. Quote, we have been in the fourth quarter of games against multiple teams this year that are college football playoff contenders, and we're right there. I expect to have this team back in the mix for a college football playoff berth, just like we were last season, and I expect to have this team in that mix soon. It obviously won't be in 2025, but in order for us to get where we want to go, we need to elevate and take another step from an offensive standpoint. It's not just about this season. We haven't been consistent enough from an offensive standpoint in the last few years. And there's another level of play that we can get to offensively, end quote. So he obviously acknowledged that level of inconsistency. They've had some great moments offensively. We know that. There's no doubt. But overall, it's been pretty inconsistent since Shane took over as head coach. And I got news for everybody prior to Shane Beamer as well. What do you make of his message that if the Gamecocks can fix their offense, they will be back competing for the college football playoffs?
Yeah, I mean that's a huge fix right now because, and to your point, we haven't seen consistent offense in Columbia in a long time. Consistent. Yes, there's been some spots, but I think that's the thing that probably maybe annoys fans a little bit more because when you look through some of these teams who have been inconsistent on offense, we have not lacked talent on a lot of these offensive teams. You look at some of those Muschamp offenses, and you're like, oh, look at this guy doing stuff in the league. Look at this guy doing stuff in the league.
Yeah.
We're starting to have some of those same conversations now around Shane's offenses, and so I'm a defensive guy. I would love nothing more than to play a 12-7 game, but fans want to see offense, and you want to walk into a game feeling like we have a chance to win if the score goes above 20, and we haven't felt that way this year for sure.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody's expecting this to be a 40-point offense every year or anything like that. I mean, that's very rare in college football, let alone the SEC. But you got to be able to score, and there's just times where we watch them, we know they just can't score. Do you think South Carolina, Preston, is an attractive destination for a high-quality offensive coordinator?
Yeah, and I'm not even. I mean, I live here. Obviously, I went to school here. I have a lot of ties here. I get all that. But if I was just to push all of that aside, I would say we have to figure out what we mean by an attractive offensive coordinator. Because yes, I do think it is a good job. Because one, we're going to pay. So all the conversations about we can't pay, we've decided that we're going to pay. We're in the ball game of paying big boy salaries. So that's the first thing that would make it attractive. Two is we're in the SEC. Three, there are athletes to choose from. So I'm not sure that conversation about like, oh, it's not very attractive. Not attractive to who? I don't. I think there's a lot of guys, and this is where I will say I'm of the belief that there are some dudes dialing it up at lower levels.
Yeah.
Who can absolutely get the job done in the SEC when given the opportunity, and they probably bite their arm off to get to South Carolina. So it may not be attractive to the standard, maybe very basic surface level candidate, but there are some dudes who will do an amazing job if given the opportunity at South Carolina, and they'd be willing to take it.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree with something you said just a moment ago. And I guess if you're at a quote unquote lower level of college football, you don't have to be young. But I personally feel like they need a young guy who does come like Shane Beamer finds a younger guy that isn't just looking for the next job to be able to get to the next job. I know everybody is in a way, right? Like, some of these quality offensive coordinators across college football, they want to be head coaches, right? And maybe they're in the ACC or in the I don't know, Big 12 or something like that. And not that would be bad. Look, I mean, you can't hire a guy and expect him to be here for 5 or 10 years anymore. That's just not the case. Like, if you're going to hire a good offensive coordinator and he really does his job, best case scenario, you're probably going to get him for 3 years, and then he's going to move on, and maybe he becomes a head coach, and then you have to have the ability to go find a guy that replaces him. But I'm not really asking you about system necessarily, Preston. Like, oh, what type, run and shoot. Like, I'm not really going there. I'm more trying to dive in a little bit deeper in your mind, the characteristics of the right OC at a place like South Carolina, who, while they do recruit good and great talent at times, they're not going to sign the same class every year that Alabama is, or that Ohio State is, or that Georgia is. They haven't done. I hope they get there, but historically they haven't done that. So what type of characteristic in a play caller is most important to you, at least in your mind?
I think the biggest one for me is creativity and imagination. I think that's the biggest thing. And I've always heard this analogy used before. I'll use it here. The difference between somebody being a chef versus somebody being a cook. A cook has the ingredients already for them, and they just follow a recipe, and that's it. A chef can go into the pantry, find a little bit of this, find a little bit of that, and they can make something based on the ingredients that they have and their know-how of how to prepare meals. And I think when you get into these offensive coordinators that are very stagnant, very system-based, that is only provided that you have the best stuff for you and you can make something of it. But we need somebody who can go in there, find something, make something out of it, and create something new. So for me, and it's kind of a wishy-washy thing, I guess, can't measure it, but I would need somebody who is creative and willing to use all the resources that they have to.
I think he froze up a little bit, or he did freeze up. Is Preston there? He is frozen. Is he unfrozen? Is he frozen? Are you frozen?
I feel like I'm back in the show now.
You're in the show. Yeah, we got you. You got you.
Where did I leave off?
I think we got all of it in there.
Okay.
I mean, you were down your last couple of words, and that's okay though. We're good.
Okay.
We're good. All right. Now, asking that question as a defensive guy, what offensive system in your mind is the most difficult to game plan for or to defend?
I'll give you a specific answer. I'll give you a general answer. I think the offensive system that's toughest to prepare for in a general sense is the one where the offensive coordinator knows the system in and out, and they have a counterpunch for everything that you try to do to them. So that's in a very general sense. I think that's very difficult to prepare for. In a specific sense, though, I think your offenses that provide a lot of window dressing, a lot of motions, a lot of this, a lot of that to run your basic plays. Those are the offenses that are very difficult to prepare for because you're never exactly sure where they're coming from. And you have to prepare for a lot. You have to prepare for a lot where they get to focus on what they do.
Okay. With all that said, should the retention of current talent have any influence at all on Coach Beamer's choice for offensive coordinator?
Only one person. And that's just how the game goes. And when you play athletics, you understand that even though we're on the same team, there might be hierarchies to this. So there's one person who might have a say so in this. Everybody else, nah. We're gonna do what's best for the team because for that one particular person, and spoiler, I'm talking about number 16. That would be what's best for the team in its immediate future if he was decide to be back and play, whatever the case is. Everybody else, yeah, either you like it or you don't, and you can have your choices from there, but you would make the best decision after that.
All right. Now there are still 3 games to play, and they're high-profile games, including Coastal Carolina, because Coastal Carolina is looking at the Gamecocks thinking they could come in and clip them with the type of season that they're having. based on what we have seen to this point, it's a hard question to ask. I know you don't like none of us like being in this lane. I get it. So dress it up however you want. But based on what we've seen to this point, what is best for Lenore Sellers' future?
Oh, that okay. One, he, you know what? That's not even the best. I think his best path is to pursue the NFL. And to go ahead and move forward because I think he has all the intangibles and the things that NFL people cannot teach. And unfortunately, I feel like, and I think Lewis Riddick gave us a good clue into this because if you watch the game, Lewis Riddick was calling the game. But if you know Lewis from his time on ESPN, he's not full of, he's not a hot take machine. That's not his. That's not his lane, right?
No.
And it was really kind of shocking to hear him be as pointed towards the offense as he was. And I think that sentiment carries over to NFL types. Like they're going to look at Lenore and obviously he's regressed some this year and he's missed throws, et cetera, et cetera. But I think in the NFL mind, they're going to look and say, yeah, but that offense was not very good and there weren't things around him. And with that being said, even though he may or may not have slipped wherever he was projected to be in the draft, I think that would be his next course of action if I was advising him or if I was in that situation.
Okay. What do you think has attributed largest to Sellers' regression? You just mentioned something I pointed out point blank yesterday. He doesn't throw the ball well. I mean, I don't care who the offensive coordinator is. You got to be able to hit simple throws. Period. The end. And he doesn't do it largely, Preston, especially in some pretty big moments. Last year, he hit a lot of those. He also missed some last year. Hopefully, you remember that. This year, it's been few and far between. Is there something? I mean, do you put that more on the system? How do you kind of divvy up the regression?
So this is where I would love to have, like hear Perry or a quarterback really get into the technical details of why he's missing. Is his footwork? Is it arm level? Whatever the case is. I think it's more so. To me, it feels like it's a confidence level, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he has confidence in himself to make those throws, or if he has confidence in the system to provide opportunities to make those things. And I think the confidence loop, like I don't think I can do it, so I can't do it, and I can't do it, so I don't think, and I think it goes around and round. Um, and I mean, just to be honest, I always start up top with the coaches. Mike Shula was the offensive coordinator; he was also the quarterbacks coach, and
Yep.
so he has to be the coach. Ultimately, has to be responsible for the player's performance. Now, obviously, in this specific case, I think because we understand the character and the willingness of the Norris, there's nobody saying like he's not doing what he needs to be done or he's not getting no extra work or whatever the case. I just think somewhere along the line there was not a connection between what he needed to get done and what he's doing. And so yeah, that's what I think is the issue. But I don't know from a technical perspective, and that's why I would love to hear some of what those quarterbacks have to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, Pat DeMarco said the same thing you did yesterday. He mentioned the confidence. It just looks like he just doesn't have a lot of confidence out there. And when you don't have confidence in anything in sports, you revert back to the things that you feel most comfortable in doing, right?
That's the biggest thing, Jamie. I think, yeah, that's you nailed it on the head, man. When you're lacking confidence or you're not sure of what you're doing, you just go back to what's comfortable, and a lot of times what's comfortable not working anymore. Or
Mm-hmm.
that worked at that worked at South Florence, but this is the this is the SEC.
Well, how much confidence do you think that he'll have now that Mike Fury and Sean Elliott will be? I don't know who's going to call it on game day yet. We really don't know, but we do know that those two guys are essentially the co-OCs moving forward. What do you think that does for it?
I don't know because I don't know what his personal relationship was with Mike or what his personal relationship was with these other coaches because people don't want to believe this, but there's a scenario where he really could have felt good being with Mike, really enjoyed being coached by him. They could have had a great relationship, and it just wasn't working. There could be another flip opposite side where they didn't have much. So I don't know what his confidence will be now. I would imagine that they're gonna have to get in there with the Norris, maybe really get dialed into what he feels comfortable doing, and call the plays that he really likes and try and build up his confidence that way.
I think they need to go back to a lot of what Dow was doing last year. Get a lot of short early completions in games. Get him in a groove, Preston, and see if you can't get him going from there. Because again, some of these, like in the game the other night, like you just can't miss those throws. You just can't. You know, I mean, you're getting paid all this money. You're the big superstar. At the end of the day, all these people are the ones footing the bill for you. They don't give a crap. They don't give a crap what your relationship is with your OC and what the reasoning is. They don't feel bad for you. The money's being drafted out of their bank account to pay for you to be here. They want you to perform. That's the world we're in now. Period. The end. Everybody wanted the money. They got it. And now you got to deal with this when you don't perform. It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, and that's true. And I would also add, I mean, you could ask Perry or ask any of these other guys that have played quarterback.
Yeah,
people have always wanted quarterbacks to make the throw. Like it's
not new.
It's a pressure cooker position, man, and that's why those dudes are special, and that's why the good ones are revered the way they are, because it's a position unlike any other. So yeah, you're right. I mean, you want to be the man, you got to be the man at all times, and it comes with everything that's involved in it.
That's exactly right, man. Exactly right. All right, I don't want to ask this question, but I feel like it's our job to ask the question, right? You have to do this every day on your show. Let's roll out the black carpet here. The worst case scenario. Carolina finishes the year with 3 wins. Does Shane Beamer, is he around to make an offensive coordinator hire?
My gut feeling would say yes. And I'm not guessing for Jeremiah Donati or anybody else. This is if I was making the decision. I think based on the season that they had last year, that's still in the back of my mind. I think Shane is running a quote unquote clean program. We've never had evidence that this has happened before. So if you do a mathematic type of things, so if we eliminate the 9-win season, we'll say that was an outlier. We eliminate the 3-win season. This is an outlier. Kind of leave you at like 6 or 7. Obviously, there might be some additional conversations moving into the next year, or the seat might be heated up. But for me, I don't think I would make that decision.
Well, I agree with you for what it's worth, but I'm always anxious to hear everybody else's opinion. All right, Mr. Defense. I mentioned yesterday, you can pick and choose a couple of things here and there throughout the season, or maybe more than a few things where this defense has had some rough moments. But overall, dude, you know, if there was any competency at all on the offensive side, we'd be looking at this defensive unit just bragging and bragging and bragging about how they lost those guys and they were recovered and they produced once again. I mean, Preston, you know, the muff punt the other night, you're like, oh, here we go. They're going to punch it in. And what does the defense do? They hold them to a field goal. Ole Miss on their home turf, and they're elite in the red zone. They hold them to a field goal. And they've had a lot of moments like that this year. I want to give you a minute or so to give kudos to those guys where you think it's due.
Yeah, they had 3 red zone stops. I mean, a pessimist would say, oh, they let them in the red zone. Okay, I hear you. But they had 3 red zone stops. They made that Ole Miss offense kick field goals several times, kept everybody involved in the game, and they've worked to get better. They had a tackling issue early in the year. You've seen that largely dissipate. They played well enough to win, and I think the conversation we had at the beginning of the year was always the defense is going to come around. The defense is going to come around, and I think they're here. They're doing what we hoped that they would do at the beginning of the season, but as you stated, the offense is not even close, and so that's where the disconnect lies. But they're doing everything that we hoped that they would do.
They have played their rear ends off, if you ask me. There's no doubt about that.